Put a finger down if you let your 16-year-old niece come live with you when she was a teenager because she was too much for her mom to handle and her mom was sick, and asked for you to help so that she can take care of your elderly father without any distractions and interruptions. So you allow her daughter to come.
That's right. I'm back with another video. Heck, I gotta bring it out to y'all. I've been slacking. If you are new here, my name is Shaneria. This is Talking Crime. On this channel, we do reaction videos. Heck, if you like drama, if you like tea, if you just like to hear somebody else's story, this is the channel for you. Hit that subscribe button, hype me up, and let's get started on today's reaction video.
Put a finger down if you let your 16-year-old niece come live with you when she was a teenager because she was too much for her mom to handle and her mom was sick, and asked for you to help so that she can take care of your elderly father without any distractions and interruptions. So you allow her daughter to come live in your home. You took care of her as your own. She decided one day that she wanted to move back with her mom, and you supported the decision for her and her mom to make amends and get on a better term, a better relationship. Fast forward 2 years later, after she moves back, her mom dies from her illness. And she lashes out on you and everybody who has tried to help her over the years. She goes on a long Facebook rampage, cursing everybody out, trying to tell everybody's business, calling you out specifically, saying what you have never done for her, and just trying to make you look bad. She then begins to steal money from your elderly father because he suffers from dementia. She begins to take him to the bank to make withdrawals daily that he doesn't know. So you have to remove access for him to do so from the account by moving the money into a savings account that he is not the joint owner of, to be able to save his monthly Social Security check so that she doesn't have him withdraw it all and he doesn't have money to pay his bills at the end of the month. Just to fast forward again, maybe another 2 years, he dies because he's elderly. And because you feel sorry for her, she's never gotten on her feet. At this point, she's now 22 years old, doesn't have a job, doesn't have any financial history, cannot get an apartment, cannot get a car, cannot get anything. He was her lifeline. He took care of her. She lived off of him. You felt sorry for her because you knew she didn't have anybody. Her mom died. Now her grandfather has died. So you offer for her to come and live with you and for you to help her get on her feet. She takes that opportunity to get to your home, steal money out of your purse, steal money from your children. You find the money in her purse, in her wallet, in the exact denominations that was stolen from everybody. She denies that she took it, making you feel like you're crazy, or like Casper the Friendly Ghost put it in her wallet. You still try to be compassionate. You still try to give her a chance. You don't immediately kick her out for that mistake, although that was a big one on the very first day that she got to your home again after previously disrespecting you. But you're trying to be nice. You're trying to help her out. You're trying to do what your dad would have wanted you to do. You're trying to take care of things. So you let her stay. Then a week or so goes by, maybe 2. You're trying to help her get jobs. You're trying to give her like resources on ways to maybe go back to school, get a certificate so that she can start a career. She doesn't have any kids, so you think that the world is hers. She can do whatever she want to do. She can be as successful as she wants to be, just for her to steal your car while you're asleep and get in a car wreck, leave your car at the scene for you to never hear from her again. You have to go and pick your car up from an impound lot to see how much damage, just to get there and see that it's completely total, a lot of damage is done. She never reaches out and apologizes or even returns to your home for the things that she left at your home. She then texts you and accuses you of doing her some wrong, even though she took your car without your permission and got it into a wreck and is costing you money financially. And that was 3 months ago, and today you still have not heard from her. All right, so let's do a story time about the last video that I posted. So let's go back to 2019. 2019, my dad was starting to experience like memory loss. I don't think he was ever officially diagnosed with dementia, but you know, when you know, you know. So he was having a hard time remembering things, remembering to pay bills on time. Sometimes he was paying certain bills multiple times. So my older sister, was like really involved in, she got really involved in like starting to keep up with his financial affairs and making sure, because I think one time he had forgotten to pay his phone bill. And his phone had got cut off so nobody could reach him, and that was unlike him. Like, if you knew my dad, then you knew that he was very financially responsible. He always preached to me growing up, pay your bills on time, take care of your business, or your business will take care of you. That was what he would always say. So she had to step in because obviously I live out of town. She lived a couple of minutes away from him, so she had to step in and start to take care of his financial affairs, making sure his things were paid, and you know, just his daily living essentials were met, and things like that. So one day, I don't know, I think maybe I might have been in town, or maybe she called me, and you know, she was just like venting to me on how she was having a hard time, like herself. She was dealing with some illness, and didn't have a lot of energy to, you know, do a lot, but she still was giving her best effort to do what she could. So she started venting to me on how like her teenage daughter was disrespectful, how she allowed for some of her friends to key her mom's car after she got into an altercation with her, and her daughter's friends were trying to like jump on her and just all of this crazy stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like, why, you know, what's going on? What can I do to help? Like, why would this be a thing? And she was like, I really don't know what to do, blah blah blah. So at the time, I was a foster parent. I had taken in, or felt like I had experience with some out of control teenagers, like, you know. And growing up, I like her daughter and I had sort of a relationship, kind of like a big sister relationship, because my sister is way older than me, and her daughter and I were close in age. So her daughter and I had sort of, to me, it was like a big sister relationship more than like an aunt relationship. Like, I used to do her hair when she was a kid, things like that. Like, she would always come around for like family events and activities, things like that. So her and I had like a sister bond, her daughter and I. So I was like, what can I do to help, you know, help you with the situation, also help you be in a better predicament to help care for our father, since I am not living in the state. So she had come to, or we together had arrived at the idea that her daughter could come and stay with me. So I traveled to St. Louis and, you know, basically told her daughter that this is what's getting ready to happen. She needs for you to come with me because, you know, you and her are butting heads, and it's not a conducive environment for anybody. It's not good for her with her sickness. It's not good for my dad with his elderly age, because her daughter was staying in my dad's house. So all of the commotion and the fights and the arguments were going on over his head, and I was like, you know, that's not healthy. So she gave pushback. She didn't want to go at first, and you know, she said she wasn't going, blah blah blah. Eventually we arrived at the conclusion that she would decide to come to live with me and give it a try. So that's what we did. I packed her up. It's like, grab as much stuff as you feel like you need. We're gonna, go back. You're gonna stay with me for a while. So I got her enrolled in school. She stayed, I want to say she stayed with me for almost a year, because this was like 2019, and I want to say it was like the springtime. I do know, yeah, I think she stayed with me for a year, because this was like the springtime. So when she first got to living with me, I do remember she had to go to alternative school because of her behaviors back where, she moved from. She had got kicked out of regular school. And here where I live, if you get kicked out of regular school and you're enrolled in alternative school, you have to complete a alternative school program before you can go back to regular school. It doesn't matter if it wasn't in their district.
It's not easy taking in a niece and a nephew, especially if they acting out. And you have to be real careful, even if it's family, who you bring into your house. I guarantee you, bringing in her niece will cause a whole shit show. If she's acting out for the mother, she not going to really respect that auntie later on. But let's continue on today's story time.
So, we got her enrolled in the alternative school. She completed the program here, Flying Colors. It was like a 12-week program. So remind you, I remember this is like springtime, so it's almost the end of the school year anyway. So basically she only had to do like a half of a school year, or a little less, to complete. Like, she got there, she did what she needed to do, she earned her points. So when she was done at the end of the school year, she got her letter that she did not have to return to alternative school, that she can then integrate back into regular high school. So that's what we did. So she stayed through the summer, and when school started, the regular school started in like August, she started school with my kids that I had in the house at the time, and everything was good. Fast forward, I'm gonna say to spring break, I want to say it was, of the next, so spring break of this current school year that she's in. So that's why I said it had been right at a year that she stayed with me. Fast forward to spring break, I guess her and her mom had been working on their relationship, working on their communication. So she ended up going to visit home for spring break, and her mom decided that she was not going to come back to live with me during that time, and that she would just stay and continue to work on her relationship, which was fine with me. I had no issue with that. If her mom was okay with it, I was okay with it, because ultimately her mom was the decision maker. I was just trying to help. So she did get back home, get back into her mom's house. I guess at some point in time things took a turn again, and they started to go left. By this time, I think, so she had turned 16 while she was in my house over that summer break before school started. So she left and went back home when she was like 16 and a half, because mind you, this is the next spring. So she finished the school year out back home, turned 17 over that next summer, and I really didn't hear much about anything. Like, her mom never really reached back out to me and said that she was having a bunch of issues, but I guess at some point things started to take a turn again, and they started to get bad again. But I had kind of washed my hands of the situation. I said I did what I could. Y'all decided what y'all decided, so I'm just gonna step back. My services are no longer needed. So this is fast forward. This is like 2020 going into 2021. So COVID had happened and all of that. So fast forward 2021, whatever was going on up there. She ended up finishing school. I want to say she finished high school in like 2021 or 2022. I'm not really sure which one, but she did her, basically a part of her freshman year and then a part of her sophomore year at my house. So when she went back home, she did her junior and senior year. Fast forward, now we in 2023. So she's done with school. I don't really know the dynamic of what's going on. I'm kind of like staying out the mix, because it got to be a little bit of drama or whatever like that, and I just didn't want to with my like caring for my dad, because I felt like there was still some lacking, but you know, I didn't want to step on nobody's toes, so I just allowed for her to do the best she could, and I just minded my business in Kentucky. So fast forward 2023, I get a call from my dad that my sister is in the hospital and is not doing good. Basically, she had began to succumb to her illness. So he was like, can you get here? I think actually I got a phone call from my mom saying that I needed to reach out to my dad and see how he was doing, because she was in the hospital. So I think, yeah, that's the way that happened. So I reached out to him and he was like, yeah, you know, can you get here? Can you help? Blah, 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 because it's not looking good. So I went to St. Louis and, you know, met them at the hospital, saw how she was doing. At that point, she was pretty much, I want to say, in a coma. Like, she wasn't responsive. She was just intubated. You know, from what I could see at that time, the machines were still keeping her alive. So my sister was unmarried, and then her daughter was her oldest child. So I don't know if this is a law everywhere, but from what I understood, in Missouri, because she had a child that was over 18, her daughter, that she got to be like the next of kin and make medical decisions or whatever like that. So my dad couldn't really even give advice on how he wanted things to go. He allowed for her to take on to that. I was kind of informed that prior to her getting sick the way she did and taking a total decline, going into the hospital, that her and her daughter were not on talking terms. So there was some type of altercation where they were not getting along, like right before that happened. But then that happened, and then she was there at the hospital, and you know, she was basically the decision maker. I don't know if it was remorse for what was going on. I can't really speak, you know, for that, because I haven't lost my parent. Well, at that time I hadn't lost my parent. Either of my parents. I hadn't lost my mom, or anything like that. So I can't really speak to what the feelings were. I can only speak to my observations. And based on what I observed while I was at the hospital, the doctors were basically saying like, there's nothing else we can do at this point. The machines are keeping her alive, and you know, we need to talk about basically end of life. She would not let them do that process. Like, she would not let them take her off the machine. Now, like I said, I don't know if it was remorse because they weren't in a good space prior to this happening, or if this was like vindictive behavior, like, oh, you know, like to me it kind of gave, oh, don't nothing happen unless I say so. Like, now you got to sit up here on these machines and basically rot until I say so. It kind of gave that, like, it kind of gave that it wasn't a serious, oh my God, let's, you know, although it's hard, let's do what we need to do. Because from the time that I got there, I want to say maybe a week had began to pass by, and I was up at the hospital for maybe like 3 or 4 of those days. So from the first day I got to the hospital to maybe the 3rd or 4th day, I had decided that I was not going to come back to the hospital, because from day 1 to day 4, the decline and deterioration of like her skin and stuff like that, to me it felt inhumane to continue to keep her on life support, especially because they weren't doing anything to preserve her life. Like, it was just like she was just sitting there rotting. Like I said, to me it gave me like a deer on the side of the road. Like, you just watch it rotting. Like, you watch her fingertips and her legs and her extremities turn black. You watch her lips turn blacker and blacker and blacker. Like, she was breaking down in the bed. And I got to a point where I was like, I'm not coming back up here. I'm not going to continue to sit here and look at her deteriorate in front of my eyes. Like, this is enough is enough. So I ended up having a conversation with my niece that day. I was like, you know, I don't understand necessarily what you're going through. I can only imagine how you feel, but she's not coming back. So you need to put your big girl panties on and, you know, make the decision to do what's right. And we need to prepare, you know, her services and things like that. And I will help you do those things if you need my help. Because she was young, obviously, and it was what it was. So it took her like maybe another day or so to find. She's like, well, tomorrow. So I was like, okay, well, you make your peace, you do what you got to do. Her brother had stopped coming up at that point because he was like 17 at that point. He had stopped coming up because I guess it was too much for him to continue to see his mom like that, and he couldn't do anything about it because of his age, and she had the final say so. So I was like, you do what you got to do, you make your peace, but I'm telling you that I'm not coming back and watching her fall apart like this. So the next day came, she made the decision, we prepared the services, everything went smooth. So, fast forward, we get the funeral together. She didn't have a big life insurance policy or anything. At that time, we weren't even aware that she had a life insurance policy. The family had took up a collection to do her cremation services, is what I was told. And then the services were held inside the family's church, to just kind of mitigate cost. So, everything was done, I had asked her, at that time, once we got the services arranged, everything was kind of said and done. I had offered her to come back to, come. It wasn't really to come stay with me, but it was more so to come visit. It's like, hey, like, your mom's gone. You probably just need to get away from your environment for a minute and just kind of process everything. Because I noticed that she was like drinking a lot and stuff like that. I was like, you need to get away and maybe, look at some options on, what you want to do for the rest of your life. I know that you're still grieving, but, hey, just come get away for a little bit. So I brought her back to Kentucky with me. At that time, so I brought her back to Kentucky with me. Her mom was on my dad's bank account with him because she had been previously handling his financial affairs, like in the form of a POA. I don't think she had a POA, but she was kind of like doing everything with him, for him. So we had went to the bank, to kind of like figure out what needed to be paid, because my dad really didn't have any idea because she handled all of that. So to kind of figure out how much money he had, what needs to be paid, things of the sort. And they were like, well, we're going to need her death certificate in order for her to be removed off the bank account. And he was like, I said, well, do you want me to help you with these things, or do you have somebody else in mind? I asked my dad, and he asked me to help him. So I was like, okay, well, then you can put me on, and then that way I'll have access to see, like, virtually from my phone, what's on auto pay, what needs to be done, and things like that, because I don't live here. So once the death certificate came, we did that, got on the bank account. We realized, I think he started sending me his bill. So the ones that were coming in the mail, he started sending them to me. So this is maybe like a month or so after she had passed. And we realized that his taxes on his home was behind, and he was going to go up for foreclosure for the taxes in August. This is maybe like April or May, because she died in March. So he also had a second home loan that he had for her in her home. So obviously she's passed. Her youngest son goes and lives with another relative, and her daughter comes with me, but neither of them were in a place where they could take over her house and her house payment. And my dad could really no longer afford it, because we needed to worry about his house and his house payment and his taxes and things like that. So we had come to the conclusion to sell her house, in order to catch up on some of his bills. All right, y'all been asking for it, so here you go. Let me finish this little story time. So boom. Let me put the light back on. So we get ready to sell her mom's house because my dad is in financial strain. His property taxes hadn't been paid. He was going to be at risk of losing his home. And furthermore, he couldn't continue to pay that additional mortgage. So it was the best decision for him to eliminate that debt. When he decided that he wanted to get rid of that home, When I tell you she cut up and clown on him so bad, to the point where when he went to walk the buyer through the house, she showed her ass in front of the buyer. She cursed my dad every which way, up, down, left, right. I mean, it was totally disgusting and disrespectful, to say the least. But at the end of the day, you know, he was a very nonchalant type of person. Took a lot to get him upset or anything like that. So, you know, he just kind of chunked it up to that was her grieving process. And he didn't really charge it to her heart. You know, he just said, pray for her. Okay. So that was really big of him. But I just feel like there's a certain level of respect that you are supposed to maintain for your elders. Number one. Number two, you don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out. So your better suggestion would have been, I got a job. I'm willing to take over the mortgage or pay you rent as a tenant the same way that my mother did, in order for me to be able to keep the home, you know, that we grew up in or whatever. Like that would have been way more respected. But the problem is, you didn't have no job. You wasn't trying to get no job. So you couldn't offer any valid solution to the problem, to his financial problem. I mean, anybody who know anything, obviously, if you have assets and you're in financial strain, liquidate, okay? Duh, but you know so much. But anyway, so that was that. Like I said, he didn't charge it to her heart. He remained calm in the situation, even though I was livid. You know, I had a lot of feelings about the way that she talked to him, the way that she acted, you know, because at the end of the day, I understand this was the home that your mother lived in, and I understand, you know, the emotional ties that you possibly have to it. But at the end of the day, when it come down to the business part of it, this was his home. This was his second home. He was the mortgagee. So at the end of the day, he could do whatever with it that he wants to, and he don't have to answer to nobody. So respect that. I mean, simple as that. So home got sold. In lieu of still trying to like do something on their mother's behalf, you know, for them, which is her sibling, my dad was like, you know, help them get some cars, help them get some vehicles. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So we began the process of searching for vehicles. We found the vehicle for her sibling first, because he had a pretty specific about what he wanted, and it was easy to find. So we found the vehicle for him down here, not far from where I live. So we ended up purchasing it. I ended up, you know, renting a U-Haul and delivering it up there to them in St. Louis, to him in St. Louis. And everything, you know, was smooth with that as far as he was concerned. Now, in the process of me doing all of these purchases, you know, like I said, she's at my house at this point because just trying to get her out of the St. Louis mentality, as well as just trying to get her away, you know, so that she could think straight, because I can only imagine like losing a parent, your head is all over the place. So sometimes it's better to just kind of like get away from your reality, and kind of like process things so that you can make your next move your best move. So I was like, you know, come down here, we'll figure out, you know, what's next for you. But that way you just kind of create some space between the situation or whatever like that. And yeah, so I was taking out money to be able to make these purchases, because these vehicles were purchased cash, as well as taking out money to like buy her things. Like obviously when she got here, she didn't have much of anything, so I took her shopping and got her some, like, you know, necessities. We went to Target, we got like some undergarments, some clothes, you know, that type of thing, you know, because her look was kind of dusty. Like, she just wasn't really put together. And I don't know if it was for lack of guidance or just not having it, whatever the case may be. Anybody who know me know I don't roll like that. Like, you not gonna be looking dusty next to me. If I have to buy the shit for you myself out of my pocket, you not gonna be looking dusty when you next to me. Like, that's not my aesthetic. Never has been. Even when I was bigger, that was never my aesthetic. So I got cash in my purse or whatever. And I'm not keeping up with the exact dollar amounts that's in my purse, because I'm like, shit, I'm taking this money out to buy the cars. I'm taking this money out to take care of business, and if she needs something, then I'm, giving her 100, giving her 200, just putting money in her pocket as well. So I'm not thinking nothing of it. I mean, mainly because I guess because it wasn't necessarily my money. Like, it wasn't mine. So I'm not real, like, counting. Like, okay, the car was a couple thousand. I took out maybe a couple $100 more than that just to pay the registration and, get the tags and all of that or whatever like that. And then, like I said, whatever she needed. So money started coming up missing out of my purse. Like, I leave my purse at the front door of my house, like basically on the dining room table. Like, I don't take my purse to my bedroom. I don't operate like that. And I would never think that if I'm taking money out to do things for you, I'm not going to think that you're going to steal. Like, you could just say, hey, I need some money. Okay, here. Like, technically, this portion of money is for things pertaining to you and your sibling. So I'm not, trying to, y'all get what I'm saying. I'm not trying to, like, debo it or anything like that. Like, if you need some money for something, here's the money for it. Like, whatever the case may be. Long as my daddy's taxes got paid, long as he was able to maintain his bills, that was really the main concern. So his taxes was satisfied immediately. Like, we took care of that. Soon as the check cleared, we took care of, his personal business to get him back in the black or whatever. So, money, like I said, money coming up missing out my purse, but I'm not really knowing exactly how much. I'm just like, damn, I thought I had a couple more $100 in here than this. Like, I'm like, did I spend it on something? Did I, I started trying to think back, like, this, I just started questioning my purchases. Did I lose it? Did I drop it? Like, what? Cause it never occurred to me that she was stealing. So I ended up finding that out later. When she left my house, it was some other things that had come up missing out of my guest room, which is kind of like a second closet for me. Like, I was, at that time, I had like a bunch of my accessories and things like that, purses and hats, that type of stuff in my guest room. So it was shit that had came up missing. I was like, yeah, she was stealing that money, but I couldn't prove it. So I didn't really press it. Fast forward, I got my sister going over to my dad's house to clean for him, like on a weekly basis or whatever like that. And she ended up getting into it with my sister. I can't remember exactly what about. It was really stemming from the fact that she was kind of upset that I was paying my sister, or that he was paying my sister to clean for him. But it didn't really initially start off like that. Like, I had asked my sister to clean or whatever, and she said, okay. And my dad's the type of person where you ain't gonna do nothing for him without him paying you. He gonna offer you some money. And my little sister, she needed the extra money, so she have small children or whatever, and she was, getting on her feet as well. So she not gonna turn down a little $50 here, a little $40 there. That's gas money. That's money to grab the kids, McDonald's or whatever the case may be. It wasn't necessarily that she was charging a certain amount to do anything, but he was offering, for her time. That's always how he's been. So she ended up getting into it with my sister about something. I can't remember exactly what, but that created a big old issue. Like, she jumped on Facebook. She jumped on Facebook. She went on a rant about my mom and you know, my mom's got her business or whatever, and she had her little daycare buses parked outside her house, and she was like she was gonna send somebody to my mom's house and this, that, and the third. She ended up calling CPS on my sister, making up false allegations. My sister has a child that is suspected to have been on the spectrum at that time. It wasn't confirmed or anything, but it was suspected, and she ended up like talking bad about the baby. She just went on a whole rampage and then looped me in. Now, mind you, I live 4 hours away. So whatever they had gotten into it about, I didn't get wind of it until she got on Facebook. My mom called me and she was like, somebody better come get this little girl before I hurt her. She on Facebook yapping her mouth, blah, 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 blah. So I jump on there. I'm like, what are you talking about? What's going on? Like, it caught me off guard. So I catch wind of it. I get on there and I hear all the threats and shit. So I said, you know what? Let me grab my other phone. I'm gonna screen record this whole thing, because if anything happened to anybody, shit, mine's my mama. She like, oh yeah, I know where you park your Turo cars, and I know where you park at the airport, and da 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 da. Like, just making all of these. I said, if anything happened to anything, baby, you incriminating yourself. You gonna take that shit up with the law. It's got your face and your name and your threats coming out of your mouth. You gonna have to take that up with the law. So anyway, she go on this long rant. I record the whole thing. I end up calling my dad. I was like, hey, she finna get hurt. Like, it's finna go down. Like, she had us 38 hot bumping her motherfucking mouth. Cause I don't do all of that. I don't do all of that idle threat shit. I don't do all of that talking. I'm not with those type of shits. Like, we can really do this. You know what I mean? Like, let's cut the small talk. Like, we can really get active. Like, I was ready to drive to St. Louis and beat her ass. Like, period. You know what I mean? So I called my daddy. I'm like, hey, she gonna get hurt. You need to say something to her or whatever you need to do. So my daddy called her down. He got me on the phone. I'm telling you on the internet, you doing this, that, and the third. They call, they call and they saying that that ain't how he talk, but he like, you on the internet, they call and they saying that you saying this, that, and the third or whatever like that. And she like, no, I ain't say that. I ain't do that. Blah, 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 blah. Just lying. She's a fucking habitual liar. All she fucking do is lie. Bitch, the lies just come out her mouth so easy. It's sickening. Okay? So, I'm like, Dad, I'm finna send you a screenshot. Now, he 80-something years old, so he don't even really know what that means. But I'm like, I got her on video. I can show you the video. This is her. So then here he go again, taking up. Oh, she just battling some demons. Just pray for her. She's using alcohol heavy. Like, my daddy didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't do none of that. She's using that alcohol and da-da-da. So he gets to blame it on that. I'm like, listen, from now on out, don't ask me to do shit for her. Anything pertaining to you, you call me directly. Outside of just taking care of the monthly things or whatever that's already kind of like scheduled, set on auto pay. I said, you call me directly, or if you have to have her help you send a message or whatever the case may be, I said, have her text me whatever you need to say from your phone. Because at this point, she's blocked from my phone because I'm going to hurt her. Like, and I got shit to lose. But at that point, I was so motherfucking mad that I ain't give a damn. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm cutting her off. I'm not dealing with her or whatever. Now, mind you, I forgot the part to say, so money came up missing. Let's take it back a little bit. Money came up missing and I started realizing it. But before she left, we did end up getting her a car as well. Same way we did for her siblings. So when she left back with the vehicle. So now let's fast forward back to Karen. So I said anything, for her, I'm not doing it. Keep me out of it. I'm only going to help you because you asked me to, whatever like that. So I started realizing withdrawals coming out the account, $1,000 here, $500 there. And these ain't withdrawals. Like, my daddy didn't have no debit card. My daddy was always the type of man, he gonna go to the bank, and pull out the money he needs to take care of his business, and then put the rest in his wallet, and that's what he gonna have until he goes to the bank again. So I'm seeing withdrawals coming out the account. The first little couple, I don't even think I even noticed them, but I think I went to pay something and I logged into the bank account and I saw that a couple of withdrawals had came out. And I had called him. I said, Dad, did you take some money out the bank? Now, mind you, his memory is kind of foggy or whatever. And when I called him, if it was something that he wanted to purchase, by all means, this his money. But anything else, no. I said, Dad, did you take some money out the bank? Oh, well, Tinker said she needed, Tinker said she needed a laptop for school. She need a laptop so she could fill out application, blah, blah, blah. I need to get her a laptop. Oh, Tinker said she needs something for her car. She need the brakes done on her car. She need this, she need that. I'm like, Dad, you cannot keep going to the bank and withdrawing money uncontrollably, because you also have to remember, yeah, there's a little extra in here right now, but eventually that's going to dwindle away, and then you're going to be back living off of your monthly income, your monthly fixed income. So you really need to squirrel away whatever additional you have. If you don't have to spend it, then don't. Because I was like, another thing is the next year's taxes is going to be coming due again. Yeah, we paid the back tax and we paid you to current, but next year they're going to be due again. So we need to, try to keep some money or whatever in the account. So I was, trying to explain that to him. She kept running them to the bank. So I'm at this point, I'm pissed, because if you taking him to the bank, he going in the bank and grabbing the money out and then forgetting that he's done it already for you this week. So you hitting him with the same old, I need this, I need that. And he going and taking the money out multiple times for the same thing. I end up having to just move the money into a separate savings account that only I had access to. And if he needed to withdraw money, he had to call me and let me know I need some money, and I'll put the money back. So, so I can manage the situation financially. And then it really got to a point where I was just like, if you need some money, I have somebody bring it to you. Like, I was sending the money to my mom or my sister for them to take him the cash, because I didn't even want him going to the bank, because she was taking advantage of him. And I already knew where it was going. So that pissed her off even some more, because now you don't even have the access of taking him to the bank. Not long after that, the transmission went out in her car. So he called me talking about, oh yeah, Tinker need $1,500 to get the transmission fixed. I said, Tinker need a job. I said, you don't have that money. You cannot afford that. You've done already fixed her brakes. You done already gave her money for this, that, and the third. You done already gave her money to get a laptop or whatever so she can apply for jobs. I said, you don't have that. If she want to get her car fixed, she gonna have to come up with the money. I said, you know what? I do you one better. I said, tell her at least come up with half, and then you could put the other half. Oh, well, how she gonna get the job? Then he said, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Then he called back, oh, well, how she gonna get a job if she ain't got no transportation to get a job? I said, she get on bus. Oh, well, she ain't got no money for the bus. I said, I'll send her a bus pass. I send her money for a bus pass. How much is a bus pass? So she kept trying to, you know what I'm saying? She kept trying to get over, and I kept beating her at the door with the bullshit. You think she ever got a job that she held down to get on her feet? She might have had got some jobs that she maybe worked at it for a little bit, but it was nothing, stable. And I came to find out recently the reason for that. Stealing from them folks' job. Yep, I'ma tell it all. Yep, I know a lot about a lot. You stealing out the cash register. She got a little job at the gas station around the corner. Got fired from there. And this was a while back ago. This was kind of like before any of this, had happened. Come to find out just here recently, you got fired because you were stealing out that cash register. How would I know that? Who told me that? Think about it. Got a couple of more little jobs. Fast food restaurants. Fired. Stealing money. So this speaks to her character. This is a continuous thing, right? So the car. She couldn't afford to get the car out get the car fixed or whatever. I'm still technically the owner of the car because when I bought the car for her, she didn't have a license. And then for her sibling, they were underage. So, you know, I put everything in my name. And I said, when you turn 18, when you get your license, whatever the case, I will turn you over your title, no problem. And that's exactly what I did. When her sibling got old enough and was ready for their title, they called me. They said, I want to sell my car, blah, 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 blah. Can I get the title? Absolutely. Let me sign it and put it in the mail. Gave them their title. Did not hesitate. Because she would like to try to say, because the same situation that happened the same way for her, that I was going to do them like that. No, you caused your own demise. As far as her car went, she couldn't afford to get it out the shop. Get it fixed. I called the shop and I said, hey, I'm going to come get it. I'm not going to pay for it to get. I'm not authorizing the invoice. I'm not authorizing the charges. I'm not going to pay to get it fixed. They said, all right, well, bring your documentation. Bring your proof that you're the owner. And you can pick it up. But you got to pay the diagnostic fee, which was like $100, maybe $150, something like that. It wasn't a whole lot. I said, that's fine. I'll pay it. And I went and got the car. Oh, she was mad about that too. Oh, you need to run me my motherfucking title. You need to run me this. For what? You don't have no money to do a punk ass thing. I said, as a matter of fact, it's my bike, punk. As a matter of fact, it's my title. As a matter of fact, it's my car, big dog. Yep. Pull Trump card. Yep. Piss me off and I'll go there. I'll be that bitch. As a matter of fact, it's my car. If you were smart, you'd have kept your motherfucking dick suckers closed long enough to get what you need, to finesse what you need, and get your title and get your shit up out my name before you start doing all that extra shit. And then I pull the motherfucking Trump card and come get the shit. Cause on paper, it's whose. Yep, did it. I ain't got shit to hide. And the only reason why I'm so hyped right now, y'all, today has been crazy. And I ain't even mad. Like, I ain't even mad about it. I'm just like, damn, it ain't been a priority for me to finish the story time just because I've been busy with other stuff. But today has really brought it out of me. It's like, now it's game on. Now this shit's a game to me. Like, at first, like I tell anybody, I didn't expect that Put a Finger Down video to get no traction like it did. I didn't even have a lot of followers. Like, I'm not really even into this social media stuff. I just was getting something off my chest. And really and truly, what made me want to get it off my chest is because I walked through my daddy's house for the first time since he had died. Probably, really, to be honest, I walked through his whole house for the first time in a long time. Because he used to stay in his little den area. Right when you hit the garage, you open the door, he was right there. So I never really went past, like, the kitchen. Because, I mean, for what? That was her little domain anywhere outside of that. But I walked through his house and I saw the filth that he was living in, and it all added up to me on why he died like he did. To me, just looking at what he was living in, I would say that he died in fear and stress. Like, that must have been what caused his stroke. Because it was filthy. Doors was off the hinges. Doors broke in half like somebody done karate chopped them. My daddy never even raised his voice. So you had him living under these conditions. And I'm going to tell y'all like this, because a lot of people gonna ask, well, how you didn't know? After this whole situation that I'm speaking on now, and how she went off, and how I cut off the situation for my sanity, because I couldn't get my daddy up out of that environment. Like, I called APS based off of her going on social media and threatening to do to him what she did do. Like, he know if he play with me, he know what I do. I'm about to go down there and ask him if he want me to do XYZ again, if he want to keep playing with me. Like, those was threats. So I was like, I called Adult Protective Services, and I'm like, he's being, at the very least, verbally abused. And he was so, forgiving, and maybe even afraid that when they came, he said that he was fine. And I got POA when he gave me the access to take over his financial affairs and everything like that. I got POA for his financial. I got POA for his medical. But I didn't want to take that and take away his independence, because yeah, he was forgetful about some things, but he wasn't totally out of his mind. He wasn't totally incapacitated. He knew what was going on around him. So I didn't want to take away his independence of being able to make his own decisions. And call me wrong, I did the best I could in the situation that I was given, and you could call me wrong for not doing more. Maybe I just didn't know what more to do, especially that I'm out of town. So I'm trying to manage this situation and manage my household. Like, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I have businesses. So I was only able to do so much, without overextending myself. And then I have my own mental and physical health, to be mindful of. So when all of this was happening and I called APS and I couldn't get shit done, she got animals in there that she was abusing. They was dying in the house. Me and my husband had to come to town and remove a dead dog, because my daddy called me talking about the dog done died. And then I get there and it's like 2 other dogs, and they in cages full of shit and piss, that I had to take these animals to the motherfucking Humane Society. I just didn't know what else to do. So I retreated. I retreated for my own sanity and mental health. I was still there for my dad as much as I could have been, as much as I knew how to be. But I just kind of limited, I just limited myself to, if he called me and he needs something, I'm going to take care of it for him. As far as the monthly things that need to be done, I'm going to make sure, his needs are met. But the things that was out of my control, I gave it to God. Like, I surrendered that. So I backed off. You know what I mean? I didn't want to take him out of his home. He didn't want to leave his home. His wishes in his old age was that he wanted to remain in his home until he went on to God. So when I tried to, intervene or get Adult Protective Services intervening, he said that he was okay. I didn't want to force him into being uncomfortable. And maybe he was uncomfortable all along. Like I said, I don't know. Fault me if I'm wrong, but I did the best that I knew how to do. I did what I could in the situation, and it worked. Could I have done things differently? Possibly, Would it have changed the ultimate impact of everything? I don't know. But I tried. I can say that I tried. I made an effort. I made an attempt. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I'm able to find comfort in that. Do I sometimes question if I could have done more? Yes, I do. But it is what it is. At that time, the message that came to me was to surrender it to God, to give it to God, give it to God, give it to God. Lorena, don't stress yourself out. Don't stress yourself out. Give it to God. So that's what I just, what I couldn't immediately control, I just gave to God. But back to it. So I told my story, I did my put a finger down because I saw the conditions. This light keep going out. I saw the conditions that he was living in. And it broke my heart. And I was just like, this ain't right. Like, you had him living like this in his final days. And then you had the audacity to come to my house and do everything that you did, everything that I said, and to put a finger down. It towards the end, came to my house, you stole from me and my children, you wrecked my car, you know, you let your dog piss and shit all over the bedroom that I allowed for you to stay in, my son's room. Like, the audacity. So I was like, yeah, I got to get this off my chest because this ain't right. I didn't expect it to do what it did, but it did it. And, you know, maybe that's what it was supposed to do. I don't know. But that's why I told my story. So anyway, I took the car, brought it back here, kind of retreated on everything. It got to a point where some time had passed, and I guess like the feelings had died down. I wasn't as mad about the whole shit as I was when it first happened. When I first told my dad that I was gonna kind of like retreat and give up, you know, on doing anything for her. And she started back texting me like his grocery list and stuff like that. Cause I would always, when I would order his groceries, I'm like, what exactly do you want me to order? Not only did I order him groceries, but because he was elderly, I also ordered him like mom's meals kits that was already pre-cooked or, you know, pre-made. So all he had to do was warm it up. I ordered him Factor 75, those meals, chef prepared meals. So I did that and groceries because I didn't want him to just have to cook everything in order to eat. And he was losing weight. So I was like, are you losing weight because you're not cooking, you're not eating right? But then I'm like, how is the food steady being gone and you steady getting skinnier and skinnier? That ain't adding up. So I come to find out she got a boyfriend living up in his house.
Usually when a teenager is acting out, it's something deep down in the inside that people need to address. That's why I say sometimes it's best to give them counseling, because the loved ones around them, it's like they get more angry at them when really the loved ones around them is just trying to figure out how to help them, especially the ones that's not even in the household, don't know what's going on. So when you taking a teenager in / family member, especially one that's acting out, and a family member is reaching out, can you please help me? My son, my daughter acting out. You have to dig deeper down into what could be causing it, because you could be bringing that teenager or that child in your household, and it causes a strain not only to you but your family around you. And as you can see, she had a husband, children, and she's trying to make sure her father is okay in a whole nother state. She's trying to make sure her sister was good because her sister was also sick. She's trying to do all of this stuff, all while taking care of her own family. And then to bring her troubled niece down into her house didn't make it no better. I mean, the girl was stealing and everything, and I'm pretty sure her sister talked to her about this before she agreed, as she said. But sometimes you think you can help people and you might need to leave it to the professionals, because if the mother can't help that child, I'm sorry, like, the next person is another family member, and all they're going to do, if you don't get them proper help, is take it out on the ones that's trying to help them. Maybe she was acting out because she knew her mother was sick, and deep down in this inside, she hurt and don't know how to express herself. And the only way she's expressing it and thinking she's getting the attention that she needs is to act out. because you got the sick mother that has an illness that cannot be cured. So she's know her mother is declining and possibly could leave this earth. Then she has a grandfather that's not remembering things, and both of these people is consistent in her life and looking out for her. So maybe she's acting out because those two people are now declining and she's just scared. But I know it's easier said than done to, dig down in the deep in the inside of those emotions. Is better said than done. But I promise you, they should have gave her professional help so they can dig deeper into what's really going on with her. But I guarantee you that's why she was acting out. And because everybody was making excuses for her, she got even worse, especially when her mother was on her dying bed and she decided to have her mother still here. I kind of think that she also did it because she wanted everybody around her know that she the one got control and she can make the last calls for her mother. But at the same time, she probably was holding on to something because she was hurt. Because the last few things that happened with her and her mother was not good. So we never know. Rest in peace to her mother, her grandfather. And hopefully this family dynamic can get better and the niece can get off Facebook, because it's nothing but a drama platform, and everybody can just come together and kumbaya and do what's right. The legacy must go on, but not in this type of manner. You guys, drop down in the comment section what you think about this story. Don't forget to like, hype me up, subscribe to this channel. If you are returning, you know how I like to do it. Hype me up, share, comment. If you like drama, if you like tea, heck, if you just like to hear somebody else's story, subscribe to this channel. I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.